I hate it when projects overrun. Stuff that I thought was important that gets pushed aside and no one seems to take responsibility for it being done. The problem is, I know deep down I'm the one to blame because I haven't given the project structure, I haven't given it clear goals and targets and KPIs. And today I want to talk about a really simple two-step process that we use in order to get that data, to make sure that our projects do end on time, to make sure that our staff remain motivated and they do actually get the job done when we hope they will get the job done every single time.
So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day and this is Systemize Your Success.
So today was timesheet approval day for me, and that means that I go in and check my contractors' timesheets, my virtual assistants' timesheets, and approve the work that they've done, and then obviously pay them for that work. And I noticed on there was a number beside the number of hours that someone had spent doing a specific task. This task was about migrating our existing FAQs and knowledge base into a new platform. So we've been using a combination of Google Docs and a bit of other bits and pieces all over the place for quite some time, and it's become clunky, it's become unusable, so we decided to move it into a much more powerful, searchable knowledge base system. And so this is quite a laborious task. There's literally hundreds of FAQs and knowledge base articles and responses to client questions and just information that we've collected over the years. Some of it needed to be cleaned up, but most of it needs actually to be moved. So this is a task that's sort of going alongside daily work. It's not an urgent, important task. It's a important, non-urgent task. So it needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done today. And so it's the kind of thing that if you're not careful, it can get sidelined. It can be pushed away by me asking my team to do other tasks, and they prioritize those over this one. And before you know it, 3 months go by, or whatever, 6 months go by, and you're like, has that project not finished yet? We're really dragging our heels on this. Like, it's something that we need. It needs to be boxed off. We need to just get it done so we can start using it and actually effectively have a single way of doing, in this case, a knowledge base. Or it doesn't matter what the project is. It could be launching a new website. It could be moving your blogs from one platform to another. It could be whatever it is. It's something that's going on for quite some time that maybe there's a repetitive element to it. And one of the key things that I realized was missing in this project was any clear indication of when it was going to start, or when it started, when it's going to finish, the volume of work involved, and how long that realistically should take, and how do we know if it's going well or going badly. And there's a really simple technique that we can use, and then I've actually asked my staff member to employ this on this project halfway through to give us this data going forward to make it clear of how is this progressing, or how is this progressing. And it's using the SMART goals technique, also combining that with a lead KPI and a lag KPI. So I'm going to explain all of those terms. So first of all, SMART goals I learned about in medicine when you were talking about when we were having learning objectives, or when we were planning something with regards to a project. And SMART stands for, and there's slightly different variations of this, but they all mean pretty much the same thing. So is it a specific goal? Do we have a specific target that's been well defined? Is it measurable? So do we know like when we've actually finished it, like what the result is expected to be? Is it achievable? Can we actually do it? Is it relevant? Should we be doing it? And is it timed? As in, does it have a fixed end date? And so with those 5 things, if you plan any project or task with those 5 things in mind, and it doesn't have to be a long-winded essay on this stuff, just literally 5 very quick points. It takes 10 seconds to do, and will give you a far clearer indication of, what is the requirements for this project, and should we even be doing it? if you've got a bigger project, I've talked about this before, using project vision boards, which encompass this sort of an idea, but in a much more expansive way, because if you're going to invest lots and lots of energy and time into something, it's worth actually thinking it through in a little bit more detail. But SMART is a great place to start, and it's something that I think that is underused. I know I underuse it, which is why I'm recording this episode. So SMART is about like really defining the project and the results you're expecting and the time it's going to take. And then once you know that information, you can say, okay, great. So if we say, I'm using my example, so we have an FAQs and there was roughly 40 pages of FAQs that we needed to move from our Google Docs into our knowledge base. And we want to do this in a way that makes them highly searchable for our clients in many cases, or internal documents highly searchable for our staff members. And so there was a bit of sort of juggling about where these were going to go, and then we had to create like the format for it. But once we got those prep parts sorted, it's just a case of moving them over. So it's about 40 pages of FAQs, and we want to move them over to a new platform. And so we can then say, okay, well, we've got 40 pages and we want this to be finished by, and then we can trying to pick an achievable, so go back to the A of SMART, an achievable date to get this done. So we need to roughly know how long it's going to take us to move things over. So we can guess, or we can actually adjust as we've maybe done the first couple of hours of work, and then we actually have some data to go on. So in this case, we've done a few hours work. So we now know roughly how long it takes per page to be able to move these over. So we can say, we have 40 pages. It takes, I'm just making this up, but say it takes an hour per page. It's probably a lot less, but it takes an hour page. That's 40 hours work. We can say we've got in the capacity of our team. So our team member that's doing this has, say, 2 hours capacity outside of her regular, important, urgent work that she does every day. She has 2 hours spare that she can focus on this one project. So we can then work out if it's going to take 40 hours, divide it by 2 hours a day. It's going to take 20 days of work. You spread that over 4 weeks. This should take 4 weeks to do. And it should be, say, so if we're doing 1 page per hour, so 2 hours, that's 2 pages per day. So we know we can do, if we do 2 pages per day for 20 days, we will complete 40 pages of work. And that means we will complete the task within that 4-week period. So that is now a really specific measurable goal with a realistic or an achievable, measurable end date that we've actually worked out based on some data rather than just some guesswork. And as I said, you can get this started at the beginning if it's a project like this, and then make adjustments to that end date and that cadence for the project once you actually have some data about how long this thing's going to take. So now we know that, we can then work out, okay, what are our KPIs for this? So our end KPI is we've transferred 40 pages of documents by this date. That's basically our target. And then the lead KPI, which is one of the most useful things I've ever learned about in measuring the progress of projects and tasks, and about keeping people accountable, keeping people motivated. And it's all about actually giving someone a target, whether that's a daily target or a weekly target, to say, you will, on average, do this much stuff each day or each week. So in this case, in the example we've said, okay, we're going to do 2 pages per day. That's our target. So if on day 1, she does 3 pages, but only does 1 page the next day, that's not so bad. But if she's only done 1 page for the first 5 days of the project, we're now lagging behind. So we're not going to, if we keep on with that cadence, we're not going to hit that end date. So something's got to change. We've either been unrealistic at how achievable that end date was. Maybe we actually underestimated how much time this person was spending on other urgent work and therefore didn't have the capacity we believe. So maybe she didn't have 2 hours spare to do this particular project. So maybe we need to actually adjust things based on new information that comes in. And therefore we can make it more achievable and therefore give her a new cadence that she needs to stick to, which she can complete without becoming completely stressed out and overworked. So I use SMART goals when we use them effectively to plan, but then adjust based on data, to then track that data through using lead KPIs, and then adjust it again throughout the project if needed, so that person has a achievable, realistic goal, but it actually isn't just a never-ending project that can last for weeks and months because things get in the way. And this happens so often for me that you start a project. I think it's important as a business owner, I hand this over, but then me being me, I throw 50 other things at the person over the course of the next month. I then go back in my brain thinking, why isn't that first thing being done yet? Like, it was really important. And they go, yeah, but you threw all this other stuff at me. When we've got a smart, data-driven goal, we can actually see that, and then they can actually flag up saying in a very quick meeting, so we have a weekly our company meeting, tell me how you're doing with your KPIs. They say, I'm behind with my KPIs. Bang, red flag goes up. You now have a conversation about it, and nothing gets left behind. We get stuff done when we say we're going to get it done, or when we hope we're going to get it done. And it's okay if that actually gets extended, but we know about it and it's a decision, and we still have a new cadence, a new lead KPI for us to actually know, is it now going to happen by the date we said? Is it going to actually happen on track? So that's it, really. It's a combination of using SMART goals, so specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timed. And as I said, there are other variations of that, but they all have the same theme. So SMART goals using lead KPIs and lag KPIs. So what's your end goal? Give it a number. And then how do you break that up over a period of time? And then be realistic. Adjust things based on real-time data. Adjust things based on capacity within your team. Be fair on people, so you actually so going back to SMART, it is an achievable goal. And be realistic. Be fair that you may have to adjust your targets to make it achievable if you're a bit ambitious to begin with. So that's it. That is how we try to manage our projects, and I'll hold my hands up and say we don't do this all the time, and I always regret it when we don't. But when we do, we give people numbers to follow, then people are more motivated to get stuff done. They typically get stuff done quicker. They do not get pushed aside for other priorities because we actually discuss them. They are measured, and therefore they become a priority. They come into meetings. It's a quick review because it's just a number we're looking at. Are you on target? Yes, no, or maybe. And that opens up the discussion as required. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give us a shout out on your favorite social media channel. Let other people know about this episode or any other episode in the podcast. And if you're feeling generous, please do leave us a review on your favorite podcast app and give us some stars. 5 is always nice. Thank you so much indeed for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye.